The story of Hasan-i Sabbah, the old man of the mountain, is full of legends and historical intrigue, shaping perceptions of the order of assassins and its mysterious leader. Born in 1050 in Persia, modern-day Iran, Hasan would become a pivotal figure in medieval Islamic history, known for his strategic intelligence, authority, and secretive assassin stance. Also known as Hasan-i of Alamut, was a religious and military leader, founder of the Nizari Ismaili, widely known as the Hashishin or the Order of Assassins, as well as the Nizari Ismaili state. Ruling from 1090 to 1124 AD, little information is available on the early life of Hasan Sabbah, who was referred to as Sayyidna, our master, by his contemporary Nizari Ismailis. The colorful story, according to which Hasan and Umar Khayyam had made a pact when they were classmates in their youth under the same master, should be dismissed as a legend. Alongside his role as a formidable leader, Hasan-i Sabbah was an accomplished scholar of mathematics, most notably in geometry, as well as astronomy and philosophy, especially in epistemology, mastered palmistry, languages, philosophy, astronomy, and mathematics, especially geometry. From a young age, Hasan showed a deep intellectual curiosity and a profound interest in philosophical inquiries. During his travels and studies in Egypt and Persia, he immersed himself in various branches of knowledge, including theology, philosophy, and mysticism. Hasan's understanding of metaphysics, the study of fundamental principles underlying existence and reality, greatly influenced his worldview and leadership style. As Hasan rose to prominence within the Ismaili community, he not only led them politically but also spiritually. He was recognized for his wisdom, spiritual insight, and ability to impart esoteric knowledge to his followers. Hasan's teachings emphasized the inner journey of self-discovery, the pursuit of knowledge, and the cultivation of a deep spiritual connection with the divine. Central to Hasan's teachings were esoteric interpretations of religious texts and symbols, which he used to convey deeper meanings and truths about existence and the universe. His ability to decode hidden meanings within scriptures and philosophical texts earned him a reputation as a master of esoteric knowledge. In addition to his roles as a teacher of metaphysical philosophy and a spiritual guide, Hasan-i Sabbah also imparted knowledge of high self-defense arts to his followers. This aspect of his teachings was born out of the practical necessity for self-protection in the volatile political and social conditions of his time. Hasan recognized the precarious nature of his position and the threats faced by his community. Therefore, alongside philosophical and spiritual education, he emphasized the importance of physical readiness and self-defense skills. These teachings were not just about combat techniques. The mountainous terrain around Alamut, where Hasan established his stronghold, further necessitated proficiency in self-defense. The assassins needed to navigate treacherous landscapes and defend their fortresses against potential invaders. Hasan's teachings of high self-defense arts ensured that his followers were not only intellectually and spiritually adept, but also physically capable of protecting themselves and general public. Hasan-i Sabbah's emphasis on self-defense arts underscored his pragmatic approach to leadership and education. His teachings resonated with future generations of assassins who continued to uphold these principles in their operations and daily lives. The integration of philosophy, spirituality, and practical skills in Hasan's teachings contributed to the holistic development of his followers, enabling them to navigate the complex political landscape of medieval Persia effectively. Hasan-i Sabbah's legacy encompasses not only his intellectual and spiritual contributions, but also his practical teachings of high self-defense arts. By equipping his disciples with these skills, Hasan ensured that they were prepared to face external threats while also fostering a sense of unity and discipline within the assassin order. His holistic approach to education continues to inspire admiration and intrigue, reflecting his enduring influence as a multifaceted leader and teacher in Islamic history. He and each of the later assassin leaders came to be known in the West as the Old Man of the Mountain, a name given to the sect's leader in the writings of Marco Polo that referenced the sect's possession of the commanding mountain fortress of Alamut Castle. He knew the Quran by heart, could quote extensively from the texts of most Muslim sects, and apart from philosophy, was well versed in mathematics, astronomy, alchemy, medicine, architecture, and the major scientific disciplines of his time. At the court of the Old Man of the Mountain, they were educated in various languages and customs, courtly etiquette, and trained in martial and other skills. At Alamut, they had impressive libraries whose collections included books on various religious traditions, philosophical and scientific texts, and scientific equipment. The Alamut Castle concept was done for a series called Al-Hashashin. Alamut is a mountain fortress at an altitude of 2,163 meters at the central Alborz, in the Iranian stanza of Qazvin, about 100 kilometers from Tehran. In 1090 AD, the Alamut Castle, a mountain fortress in present-day Iran, came into the possession of Hasan-i Sabbah, a champion of the Nizari Ismaili cause. The name Alamut came from an ancient Persian king who, while on a hunting expedition in a remote valley, followed an enormous eagle and saw it land on a rock at the top of a hard-to-reach mountain. The king took this as a favorable omen and, realizing the strategic value of the location, built a castle there, naming it Alamut, meaning the eagle's nest. Around 2 centuries later, Hasan-i Sabbah stumbled upon this castle. Once he had infiltrated almost the entire castle guard Hasan-i Sabbah bought, Alamut Castle and then other castles. He declared it his and took it over without spilling a drop of blood. He then built more defenses for the castle and improved irrigation, so it could be self-sufficient in food production. A giant library and center of learning of mathematics, philosophy, astronomy, and alchemy was built inside. Within a few years, dozens of similar castles had been built in remote regions in northern Iran, creating an independent state. The construction of Alamut's famous library likely occurred after Hassan's fortification of the castle and its surrounding valley. With its astronomical instruments and rare collection of works, the library attracted scholars and scientists of a variety of religious persuasions from around the world who visited it for many months at a time, hosted by the Ismailis. By and large, the writings of the Persian Ismailis, both scientific and doctrinal, did not survive beyond the Alamut period. In addition to the rich literature they had already produced in Arabic, the relocation of the Ismaili center to Iran now prompted a surge in Persian Ismaili literature. With Alamut now in his possession, Hassan swiftly embarked on a complete refortification of the complex. By enhancing the walls and structure of a series of storage facilities, the fortress was to act as a self-sustaining stronghold during major confrontations. The perimeters of the rooms were lined with limestone, so as to preserve provisions to be used in times of crisis. Indeed, when the Mongols invaded the fortress, Ivanow was astonished to see stored countless supplies in perfect condition to withstand a possible siege. Next, Hasan took on the task of irrigating the surrounding villages of the Alamut Valley. The land at valley's floor was arable land, allowing for the cultivation of dry crops including barley, wheat, and rice. In order to make available the maximum amount of cultivable land, the ground was terraced under Hasan's direction. Ivanow, just as his predecessors, became an important state official. He was with Ilkhan Hulagu in the 1256 campaign at the taking of Alamut, where he selected many choice books from the famous Alamut library for his own purposes and burnt those books that he did not like. He was responsible for saving part of its celebrated library. He had also accompanied Hulagu during the sack of Baghdad in 1258, and the next year was appointed governor of Baghdad. The conquest of the Mongols and their allies targeted areas known to be rich and developed, often resulting in the destruction of thriving civilizations and infrastructure. The Mongols used a strategy of siege and conquest to expand their empire, leading to the colonization of territories through sheer force of numbers, and also by waiting for the unpreparedness of the territories they wanted to conquer. The comparison to pests destroying a fertile crop is apt to describe the Mongol invasion of the people, culture, and wealth they encountered. Once inside Alamut, the Mongols systematically looted its treasures, including the famed library that housed priceless manuscripts and accumulated knowledge from across the Islamic world. The destruction was devastating, with many historical accounts lamenting the loss of valuable texts and artifacts that were either pillaged or destroyed during the siege. What little we know about the imamate at Alamut is narrated to us by one of the greatest detractors of the Ismailis. Ivanow was serving Mongol patrons. An anti-Ismaili, given Ivanow's polemical aims, and the fact that he burned the Ismaili libraries, which may have offered much more reliable testimony about the history, scholars have been dubious about his narrative, and also allegedly changed the classical books according to his thoughts and goals. That the Alamut library was lost. With the permission of Hulagu, Ivanow explored the library and selected a few works he deemed worthy of salvaging before the remainder was set aflame. His choice items included copies of the Quran, a number of astronomical instruments and treatises, and a number of Ismaili works. Thus, some of the richest treatises on Ismaili scientific teachings were lost with the destruction of the library. From his tour and survey of the castle, Ivanow compiled a description of Alamut, which he included in his chronicle of the Mongol invasion. While the fall of Alamut is not well documented in historical records, some aspects remain shrouded in controversy and myth. Legends persisted of hidden treasures and secret passages within Alamut, adding to its mystique long after its physical destruction. Compared with Maimundas, the Alamut fortress was far better fortified and could have long withstood the assaults of the Mongol army. However, the castle was relatively small in size and was easily surrounded by the Mongols. Still, the most significant factor in determining the defeat of the Ismailis at Alamut was the command by the Imam for the surrender of the castles in the valley. In obedience to the Imam, Muqaddam and his men descended from the fortress, and the Mongol army entered Alamut and began its demolition. There is historical controversy surrounding the accusations made by Marco Polo and other later accounts alleging that Hasan-i Sabbah and his followers used drugs, specifically hashish, to induce a state of divine ecstasy or to manipulate their assassins. Modern historians generally dispute these claims for several reasons. Firstly, there is a lack of contemporary evidence from Hassan's time that substantiates the claims of drug use among the assassins. Most of the accusations emerged decades or even centuries after Hassan's death, often from sources with dubious reliability or from hearsay. The Ismailis during the era of Sayyidna Hasan bin Sabbah were called Fidais Assassins. The word Fidai comes from Fida, which means sacrifice. Since the Ismailis used to sacrifice, that is, to give up their lives and everything for the sake of faith, they were called Fidais. But as far as the word assassin is concerned, there is a controversy. The truth is that the word comes from the word Hasaneen, which means followers of Hassan. Some say that the word is actually hashish, which means addicts of the intoxicating green potion hashish. This assumption is based on their belief that at the time of war to maintain the morale of their soldiers. Accusations of drug use often became part of political propaganda spread by Hassan's enemies, including betrayals of the successes of Hasan-i Sabbah and European chroniclers during the Crusades. These stories aim to discredit Hasan-i Sabbah and portray the assassins as fanatical and untrustworthy. The term hashishin, which is not the origin of the word assassins, originally referred to Hassan's followers who were not marijuana users or assassins, but was applied to Hassan's followers metaphorically. This symbolizes their unwavering loyalty and dedication rather than the consumption of illegal drugs. This metaphorical use likely contributes to misunderstandings and exaggerations about drug use. Assassin is a name that was applied originally by the Crusader circles in the Near East and other medieval Europeans to the Nizari Ismailis. It was, indeed, in Sinan's time, 1163 to 1193 CE, that the Crusaders and their European observers became particularly enchanted by the highly exaggerated reports and rumors about the daring behavior of the Nizari Fidais. Hasan-i Sabbah's teachings and practices often involve spiritual practices and allegorical language that may be misinterpreted as referring to drug-induced states. The concept of heaven or paradise in assassin teachings most likely symbolizes spiritual enlightenment or the opening of the inner eye in union with the Almighty God with special training provided, which is also kept secret and is not a literal promise of happiness caused by drugs. In conclusion, while Marco Polo and subsequent historians may have perpetuated the myth of drug use among the assassins, there is little credible evidence to support such claims. Hasan-i Sabbah's legacy as a thinker, strategist, and spiritual guide rests on his actual teachings and achievements rather than on sensationalized accusations. It is more accurate to view the assassins under Hassan's leadership as a disciplined and intellectually sophisticated group rather than as drug-fueled extremists. It was during this time that Hassan founded the Order of Assassins, also known as the Hashishin. Contrary to popular belief, the assassins were not hired killers, but a disciplined organization with a complex hierarchy and strict rules. They were known for their infiltration tactics. Hasan himself became a legendary figure, feared and respected in equal measure. Hasan-i Sabbah's role as a teacher of metaphysical philosophy and a spiritual guide was not separate from his political leadership but integrated into it. He believed that a true leader should embody both wisdom and power, guiding his followers not only in matters of statecraft but also in matters of the soul. Hasan-i Sabbah's teachings and spiritual guidance left a lasting impact on the Ismaili community and beyond. His approach to integrating philosophy and spirituality influenced subsequent Ismaili thinkers and mystics, contributing to the rich intellectual and spiritual tradition of Shia Islam. Even today, Hasan-i Sabbah is remembered not only for his political maneuvering and the founding of the Assassins, but also for his profound teachings on metaphysics and spirituality, which continue to resonate with seekers of knowledge and truth. His legacy as a teacher of metaphysical philosophy and a master spiritual guide endures as a testament to his profound intellectual and spiritual. Hasan-i Sabbah died in 1124, but his legacy endured long after his death. The Assassins continued to play a significant role in medieval Islamic politics for centuries, with their influence extending into Europe during the Crusades. Hasan's strategic brilliance and the mystique surrounding the Assassins have captured the imagination of historians and storytellers alike, ensuring his place in both history and legend. In recounting the story of Hasan-i Sabbah and the Assassins, one encounters a complex tapestry of faith, power, and intrigue. Hasan's life exemplifies the transformative impact of ideology and strategy in shaping historical outcomes, leaving behind a legacy that continues to fascinate and inspire to this day. His fortress of Alamut stands not only as a physical monument, but as a symbol of the enduring quest for power and meaning in the tumultuous medieval world. Hey there! Thanks for taking the time to watch this video on Different Facts channel. If you want to support our channel, please consider subscribing, your positive comments, and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. We appreciate your support and hope to see you again soon.